Elen Silla Lumen Omentielvo. Today I bring to you the history of the Istari. The Istari, or wizards as they are more commonly known, were a group of 5 Maiar sent by the Valar to aid the free peoples against Sauron's rising power in Middle-earth. The Istari were sent as advisors and counselors, not as kings or conquerors, and they were forbidden from using force to impose their will upon the free peoples. With their quest given, the Istari set sail for Middle-earth, believed to have arrived in 1000 of the Third Age. From there the wizards roamed far and wide, aiding the free peoples in their own ways. Over time the wizards were given many names, but they were more commonly known as Saruman the White, Gandalf the Gray, Radagast the Brown, and Alatar and Palando, or Morinitar and Romastamo, the Blue Wizards. Saruman the White was the head of the order. Upon first arriving in Middle-earth, he turned to the east, wandering those lands for many years before returning to the west and becoming the head of the White Council. Saruman became concerned only with the grand and important aspects of the world. Power was at the forefront of Saruman's mind, and he sought out the One Ring. He too was jealous of Gandalf upon learning the Grey Wizard was given Narya, the Ring of Fire. Saruman would begin to spy upon Gandalf, seeing where he went and for what purposes. Saruman would take up residence in the Tower of Orthanc for the purpose of obtaining the Palantir in the tower. Saruman at long last abandoned the task given to him by the Valar, for he wanted the power of Sauron and to govern Middle-earth. When Gandalf informed the White Council of Sauron's presence in Dol Guldur, he overruled Gandalf, for secretly Saruman believed Sauron's presence would coax the One Ring out of hiding. In 2941, Saruman agreed to cast out Sauron, as he began to fear the Dark Lord's power. Saruman would become ensnared by Sauron when the wizard finally looked into the Palantir and spoke with Sauron. Saruman turned double traitor as he still searched for the ring to make it his own. Saruman began breeding the Uruk-hai and worked to weaken the West, such as poisoning Theoden, king of Rohan's mind. His treachery was revealed when he imprisoned Gandalf, though the Grey Wizard would escape. Saruman would focus all of his efforts into destroying Rohan, and he would send forth his Uruk-hai to crush them. Saruman would be defeated twofold, as the Uruk-hai are defeated at Helm's Deep, and the Ents ransacked Isengard. Under Gandalf's wisdom, the Ents would hold Saruman for a time, but the fallen wizard would use his greatest power, his voice, to convince the Ents to let him go. Saruman would thus go to the Shire, and there his plans would be foiled by the 4 hobbits. Saruman's demise would come from Wormtongue, whom he insulted, and Grima stabbed Saruman in the back. His spirit would rise from his body, and he would be blown away by the winds of Manwë. Aloran, or Gandalf as he was later known, was the most afraid of Sauron, for he knew the Dark Lord to be the more powerful being. Despite this fear, he still went to Middle-earth to aid the free peoples. Upon his arrival, he was given the Ring of Fire by Círdan, and this ring would aid Gandalf in inspiring and giving hope to others. As Gandalf is the most well-known of the wizards, I will more briefly go over his history, as his full tale will be told in his own video. Gandalf would be the greatest opponent of Sauron, uncovering many of his evil plans and schemes, and it was Gandalf who discovered it was Sauron who dwelt in Dol Guldur. He would encourage the White Council to act, but the false wisdom of Saruman prevented this. Gandalf's mind was always thinking of the future, and the ways in which Sauron could return in might. Thus, when Thorin Oakenshield and Gandalf meet, the two agreed that Smaug the dragon had sat in Erebor for long enough. So the quest for Erebor began, and Gandalf aided the company both by selecting Bilbo Baggins as the 14th member, and by saving the company on several occasions. That same year, the White Council cast Sauron out of Dol Guldur. Years later, Gandalf would lead the Fellowship of the Ring, until he fell in Moria in battle with the Balrog. This was not the end for Gandalf, as he returned as Gandalf the White. As the new White Wizard, Gandalf would play an even more active role against Sauron, bringing hope to Gondor and Rohan, and counseling the kings and lords of those realms. Gandalf would be commander in charge of the host of the West in the Battle of the Morannon. With the ring destroyed and Sauron defeated, Gandalf would return to the Westlands, to Valinor, the only one of the Istari to do so. The wizard, Radagast, was the most peculiar wizard. He was chosen by Yavanna, the Vala of Nature, to go to Middle-earth. Radagast had a love for the birds and the beasts of Middle-earth, and thus became his chief concern. Saruman would deceive Radagast into aiding his search for the ring by sending many birds and beasts to the White Wizard's aid, though Radagast would not suspect the true purpose of Saruman's request. Radagast would also unintentionally cause Gandalf's capture by Saruman by informing Gandalf of Saruman's request to meet with him. The fate of Radagast is most intriguing, for by some accounts he is said to have failed his mission and turned away from it. Others say that Radagast was simply using different methods in stopping evil. It may be said that Radagast was given the task of preserving nature by Yavanna against Sauron, but that in the task of the Istari as an order to aid the free peoples against darkness, he failed. The Blue Wizards are a mystery, for little is recorded of their deeds and actions in the Third Age. Indeed, their names are even disputed. There is debate about when the Blue arrived in Middle-earth. In one account, the Blue Wizards were named Alatar and Palando, and they arrived in the year 1000 of the Third Age with the other wizards. The Blue Wizards would go into the east and south, attempting to find Sauron and banish his influence over the Haradrim and Easterlings. In this account, it is believed the Blue Wizards failed, either falling into service with Sauron or being defeated by his followers, or perhaps some other fate met them. In another account, the Blue Wizards were Morinitar and Romestamo, and they arrived in the year 1600 of the Second Age alongside Glorfindel, and they again went into the east and south and caused rebellions and uprisings against Sauron, opposing him for centuries and millennium, similar to Gandalf in the west. By this account, the Free Peoples only achieved victory in the end because of the actions of the Blue Wizards, bringing light to the dark corners of Sauron's influence. But we truly do not know the fate of the Blue Wizards. And that ends the history of the Istari. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and please let me know how I can better improve these videos. Thanks, and as the elves say, Namarie.